I've been around, the more I'm seeing that, yes, there are moments that are supernatural in a service, but there is wholeness at the table. There's healing that happens at the table.
Hey guys, welcome back to At the Table with Jess. This is a special podcast because we're here with one of my best friends in the world, Musy Hart. Moose, we're literal neighbors.
Yes, we are.
We live literally right around the corner from each other. And we're starting this kind of new series that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I know I'm not supposed to do this, but conversations about ships. So we're going to talk about friendship because we've done that now for almost a decade.
That's right.
And pretty intentionally for almost a decade. I'm going to tell the story about how I feel like it really started, and then you can say whatever you want after that.
According to my perception, your perception.
Exactly. We can tell our stories. We had a mutual friend. I knew of you because I had done work in Congo. You were going to Congo right after I came out of Congo. We ran in like similar circles-ish. But a mutual friend came to town, introduced us. I started doing your small group. All that's great. I had a lot of friends at that time. I didn't think much of it. But I will never forget the day, and you've heard me tell the story before, where you were basically like, you have a lot of people you have coffee with, but you don't have friends. And I was like, this lady does not know me. What is she talking about? I was like, I have friends all over the world, you know? But something about it really stuck. And I started kind of just reflecting on my relationships with people. And not that I didn't have a few really good relationships with people that didn't live in Redding, but I didn't have a lot of deep relationships in Redding. And I think what I had been doing, and I really think it was the Lord speaking through you that day, I had been very hesitant to dive into relationships, friendships, because I'd been hurt before. But also I just was waiting for the moment that I was going to leave. And so I was like, what's the point in going deep with friendships? And after praying a lot about what you had said, I was like, oh my goodness, like I need to let people into my life. And I do. I have 27 coffees every week and talk about life, but I never like really open up my heart. And yeah, after that, we just started becoming friends. Like I let you into some things that were going on in my life at the time that were difficult. When I moved to Brazil, you were one of the most present friends of tons that I thought I had, which no offense to any of them, but like there was you and a handful of other friends that were like on top of checking in with me and being there. And then we moved to the same city again, and gosh, cancer journey, and now we're neighbors. And your son drives his mule back and forth from my house to your house, and we get to do friends. So did I say anything wrong? Was that you? Would you agree? Was that how it?
That was pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I may just add.
Yeah, go ahead.
When we first met, and I was just like, so what are you doing this week? And I was like, I'm going to be preaching here. And I was like, okay. And then and I'm like, what are you doing next week? And I'm going to be in this other place and this other place.
Yeah.
And this other place. And I'm like, do you have this? That's
do you have friends?
I'm like, what, do you do more than just like, it's like, yeah, I meet with people. And I was like, yeah, they're all pulling on you. But I'm like, do you actually just like, and so I remember, I think we were on the porch. Weren't we in the back of that house?
Yeah.
Having that conversation, but I was just like, and it was, anyways, it was I wasn't sure how to say anything to you, because I'm like, I knew you were doing all this stuff, but I was, anyway, so it was just, and you've been a gift. You too. And a joy.
And your I honestly, I'm like, we're calling this friendships, but I'm like, your family's family, you know, and we talk about that a lot. Like, your kids feel like my kids. I'm like, I'm Auntie Jess. Like, I'll spank y'all if I have to, you know.
Praise the Lord.
I adore your kids like my own kids. Your husband's one of, you know, dear Lord, we couldn't function in the season of owning a house without him. He's one of my best friends as well. And you guys have been probably one of the greatest gifts of friendships that I think I've experienced in life, which is beautiful. I think I wanted to talk about this with you, one, because I think we do have such a close, like, just, it's neat how for me, like, I'm single and yet your family, I'm close to all of you in my own way, you know, like with each of you. And
it's true. Hold it. You got to tell them you're good friends with like my husband as well.
Yeah,
and
for
like
sure.
There's tons of like ministry specific.
I would say there's ministry stuff I go to him for. Yeah.
Then it's me. And then there is my 18
that
adores you as well. My 17, my 18 and my 17 sometimes will go to you instead of coming to me. and my 12. So you literally have friends with every single member of my family. And so it's true.
I love it. Yeah. And Julia's here and she obviously lives in the house with me with God only knows how many women at any given time. And, yeah, I mean, like the other day, something was going on with one of the girls that lived in our house car, and we called your husband, and he came over, you know. And then one time, a girl locked herself in a bathroom, and we called your husband, you know. And I needed something, and I called Josh. Like yeah, you know. The other morning, I was in your house because I wanted food, and so you know, it's like I don't want to go to the grocery store, so we just walked over to your house and.
Yesterday was the best one. It's like, hey, I went to your house.
Yeah.
And I grabbed a couple of things and you were not there. I'm like, okay.
Well, if Julia could maybe, when she's editing this, put up a picture of what we found in your house, because that's what the better part was. I walked over to her house. She wasn't there. I needed a few things for a recipe. I didn't have my car at the moment because we had loaned it to a missionary. So I just walked over to your house, went in, and there is a stuffed ferret
supposed to be ferret
on the counter with its like tongue hanging out, and I just like texted Moose. I was like, what in the world? Like, what is happening? So all that to say, we're close. You know, we're close. Your kiddos come, and it's not uncommon for me to find one of them sleeping on the couch or getting snacks out of the pantry. And you know, Julia goes to y'all's house when she needs a break from me for sure. And
vice versa.
It's great.
And we come to your house when 100%. We need a break.
And this is something that I've realized though, and I think this is why I wanted to talk. That I didn't realize how rare that is. Like having deep, especially for those that are in ministry, having deep friendships. Now you are in ministry, have been in ministry for years. Your husband obviously travels and preaches and does more of the itinerant stuff. And I think as a young person in ministry, you know, I had a mentor of mine say one time, like, well, you don't get to have those kind of friendships when you're in ministry. And, you know, I don't think I realized how much that affected the way I thought. And it was like, oh, that's part of the cross I have to bear. Like if I'm in a pastoral role or I'm in an itinerant role, I just don't get to have deep friendships like that. I don't get to have deep relationships like that. So I had lived most of my 20s and early 30s doing itinerant, doing ministry, pastoring tons of people, discipling tons of people, but never having like super deep, close friendships. And I do have, you know, my best friend, Megan, who I've had since like 8th grade. And I kind of felt like I would just always have this one friend. And that's the one friend that I would always get to like be real with and do life with. And everything else was going to have to be somewhat superficial because I was a leader or I was this or I was that. And I've watched you like fight for you to have those friendships, fight for your husband to have those friendships, like really believing that those are healthy and grounding. Yeah. Why did that become such a conviction to you?
There were a couple of seasons through, one of them living in, we did life in Reading. Yeah. And in realizing if you are only having one pool of friendships, if everybody leaves,
they all
leave.
Yeah.
And so Candace was the one that actually said, I have different groups of friends from different, so that and I was just like, oh, that's interesting. And on one hand, that helped me.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is like, I always found, for me, there is beauty in the wholeness of the body. Yeah. From the older to the younger, there is always something that God is bringing or pulling out of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I used to think like the woman needs to be friend, and maybe the guys need to be friend, and then the kids their age, and they don't all overlap. But I used to think that was. But I'm like, the more I'm finding out and like just doing deeper community or relationship, it is not that way. Yeah. It's actually all blend in, and it's kind of messy, but it's a good salsa, if you want to call it. Because you have all different flavors, and you need all flavors.
Yeah.
One person cannot bring all the perspective.
Right.
It needs to come from different parts. And for there are seasons, and you need different seasons for different stuff. I am not going to ask something from my 17-year-old daughter when I'm trying to talk to people that are more on their mature season and their 50s or 60s.
Right.
So you pull all the, and it needs to be multi-generational. And I'm like, I am finding that there is so much richness, wholeness when we learn to do it all over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And try to find a movie that everybody likes.
Right.
That's always the deal. But that's the only big challenge. But besides that, you can spend half an hour. But the beauty of interacting, or like when we try to do the card games, and then you have all different flavors, and it's just beautiful, and everybody laughing and spending time together. But I also realizing that's how the Middle Eastern culture
communal
and like communal, it isn't just people on the side and all separate, but actually sitting down around the table. And I'm also like, the more I've been around, the more I'm seeing that, yes, there are moments that are supernatural in a service, that somebody can get healed about something.
Yeah.
But there is wholeness at the table.
Yeah.
There's healing that happens at the table when you're laughing.
Specifically this podcast, at the table.
At the table, this table that brings.
It's true.
It just is. And because it's a sense of belonging. Is a sense of, I mean, there are some tables that you don't want to be on, but you do try to have the people that are trying to do their best, trying to honor and not trying to hide, but trying to do their best before the Lord, and not pretending that they're something that they're not.
Yeah.
But I feel like the more you keep bringing, I just find it, I'm like, I have 2 different groups that I'm doing right now where I'm trying to do discipleship. And one is on the younger side, and another one is a bit more on the mature side. And there is something special about eating, prepping together, and just having a meal, making a joke, and then pulling out the scriptures.
Yeah.
There's something special about it.
I love that. I mean, this isn't necessarily about friendship, but we're just going to let it flow.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that I've really learned mostly in the last year of like having my own house. Mm-hmm. Because I think, bringing them around the table. We do the women's Bible study in my house right now. We've got girls in the house. I've watched you kind of do this over the years that I've known you, of bringing people in and walking them through hard seasons. You did that for me. I've watched you do it for other people. I think, again, having been in like full-time ministry since I was younger, I always had this idea of ministry that it needed to be done from the pulpit. It needed to be done inside the church. And I don't think it was anything I was ever taught. It's just the outlet that I was always given. Like, oh, you're a youth pastor, so you do this. Oh, you're on staff at this church, so you do this. Or you're an itinerant minister and you're bouncing around. Right. And what I would do inadvertently for years was like, kind of when I leave my home, ministry hat on, go do ministry, come home, and it's like, oh, I don't have to do that here. And I wasn't doing it on purpose, but I definitely put it into 2 different boxes. Mm-hmm. And in this last year, I mean, those boxes have just blown up as God has asked me, 1, to like reduce traveling and itinerant, but also 2, invite people into the home and have lots of people. And for what people may not know this about me, but you do, is like, I'm more introverted. So I'm like in my space, like, but the breakthroughs that we've seen, like around the kitchen table or on the back porch, or that you've seen as you gather the group of girls that you disciple, and, even some of the deliverance and some of the healing, and even just the act of eating together and being next to each other is so healing for people. Yeah. And what we don't realize is people are lacking that. Like, they're connection starved in the most connected generation because of social media. And so I think, again, like doing this, like people opening their homes and inviting people in, whether it be for a game night or a Bible study, doing friendship well and sitting around a table. Like, how many times have we had to sit down and have conversations, whether that be you and me or with people within our community, that were like, hey, I'm seeing this and this is concerning. Yeah. Or, hey, like, I'm really encouraged by this. Or like, you can't hide when you do life this way.
You do life together. You can hide behind the pulpit. You can hide behind ministry. When you're doing life with people day in and day out, not every other week or just on Sundays. I'm like, no, when you're sitting down and that you get to see all of it. Yeah. And I'm like, for me, is For me, it's been like learning to love like Jesus in everything we do. If it isn't that moment, sitting down in a service or sitting down when I'm at home, like making a meal for somebody.
Yeah.
You know, for me, all of it is onto the Lord. And it's not like ministry serving.
Yeah.
But it's serving, not serving him and that person that you have in front of you. And learning. The hardest thing is very easy to love just when you're ministering.
Yeah.
You can love no problem for an hour or so. But when you're doing life every day and it's costly and you get interrupted and you have to make a call because I'm like, something is going to blow up in any minute. Oh, you got to stop everything. You got to go and check on that person. That is costly. But I'm like, at the same time, that is what Jesus did for us. That's how he healed us. That's how he laid his life down for us. No matter where that is, if that's here where we're at right now, Franklin, or if that's in Africa, or if it's in Asia, or wherever you're at, is loving the like Jesus has loved us. Because you can't give what you don't have.
Yeah.
There's
a dying to self to actually have real community.
That's right.
And I think that's something that we don't talk about enough because, you know, I meet tons of people that are like, I want deep relationships and I don't have them, and I want community and I don't have them. And I'm not saying that's always their fault.
Right.
But I would say there is a personal responsibility of like, what are you willing to sacrifice for it?
That's right.
Like, are you willing to serve someone even when it's not convenient, even when you don't want to? I mean, this week we had an issue where I was on a call and Julia got stuck in Nashville and she called you and Will, and you had to, in the middle of rush hour with guys, if you don't know, this is a sacrifice to drive into Nashville. And it's not like you were sitting there going,
Nashville. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It's not like you were sitting there going, what do I want to do today? I want to go sit in traffic for an hour and a half, wait for an hour in a car. It's costly.
Yeah.
And we gladly do it because we all love
100%.
each other and care about each
100%.
other. But at the end of the day, I think we don't always count the cost of what deep relationship requires.
Right.
Like, no, it means that you show up, you know, it means that you answer phone calls. It means that you go, you know, like you spend time. It means for introverts like me, maybe you want to go sit in your room alone and not talk to anybody, but instead you go into the room with everybody being loud and have conversations.
Right.
Like it is it's costly and it is a sacrifice, but it's worth it.
It is worth it. It's related. It's
it.
discipleship. Discipleship is training.
Yeah.
And doing life that way. And all of us constantly, when you're with godly people around you, you're constantly raising the bar on, I just want to be more like Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't want to try it. In what we have developed, I'm never trying to be Jess.
Yeah.
You're not trying to be me.
Yeah.
Drew's not trying to be anybody else. Like we try to encourage you be what God's called you to be. And I think at least in our environment, I can't speak for any other ones. And that's beautiful and fresh. And yeah. And it's costly. It cost him everything.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it cost us?
Yeah.
With joy.
Yeah. There's a verse that I actually, because let's get a little scripture into this.
Be
But
good.
Proverbs 18:1 has just become such a real thing in my heart in the last few years, where it says, he who isolates himself breaks out against sound judgment. Some translations say he who isolates himself is a fool. And, you know, I realized that I spent years having very surface level friendships that were good. And if you would have asked most people, they would have been like, Jessica has tons of friends. Mm-hmm. But the truth was, I was isolating. And when things got hard, my season of like PTSD, you know, I had one or two close friends, but I didn't have a community of people. Right. And things broke down and it got hard. And I came face to face with a reality that like Jessica can't do all this on her own. Shocker. She's not the savior of herself. And that there's a reason that God really promotes community throughout scripture. Yeah. And, you know, when one falls down, the other can pick them up kind of thing. Mm. And we've seen that, I feel like, within our community, and obviously not just your family and me, but like so many other people that we have that are part of our little crew. And we get to do life, the highs and the lows together. And we've gone through hard things. You know, we went through your cancer journey together. That's right. We have a friend who had someone that was murdered on his doorstep. You know, like we could go down. Some of this was just in the last 2 years. You know, like
That's right.
we've gone through hard things.
Yeah.
We've gone through, you know, having to confront people and like get into people's business and go, hey, like, you know. But we also, at the end of the day, for me, I think one of the most beautiful things is that like, I truly know that if I fall, there's someone there to pick me up.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing this alone anymore. And I'm a single woman in ministry. And yet I know I have a community of people. What would you give as some tips? Like I'm putting you on the spot here because I didn't tell you.
It. No, I know.
But we're just, you know, inviting into this conversation. What would you give as some tips for somebody that's watching this and they're like, I long for community like that, but I don't have it. What would you say?
There were a few things, and especially, well, when you move to a new place, it just sucks.
It's hard.
Transition, guys, transition
that.
sucks.
Say that,
It
Muse.
just sucks.
Yeah.
But as long as you know the transition sucks, and you know, I have learned now after all this decades, like nothing is going to last forever, but you need to invest. You need to choose in what you're going to invest. So I remember moving from all the different places that we were at, and somebody said, I don't want to go to this dinner that I was invited, but if I don't go, I will not meet people.
Yeah.
And there were so many times that you go to places or dinners and you go, well, I will not go back there.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But you never know when you're going to find your people that the Lord is bringing up. Because here's the thing, it's community, but it doesn't mean that everybody's supposed to do community with everybody.
Yeah, that's good.
That's not realistic.
That's good.
But you have to find people that God is bringing to your life to hold you accountable to do what the Lord has called you to do, but not in my calling way. Because I'm like, if you're around me, I will tell you over and over, I will tell you the calling is Jesus.
Yeah.
It's not about you getting a platform. The calling is him
Come
and
on.
him alone. But holding you accountable that you're going after the goal of his persona, that he's the one that you want and not anything else.
Yeah.
So go to play. If you're in a new place, just go, and it's okay that you will be in places that you are not going to find your people. That's just part of it. Our awkward conversations, many, plenty of them. I will say too, don't rush into anything. Once you start getting to know somebody, don't share your whole. Share interest.
Yeah.
But don't share the
Your whole
deepest
life.
stuff of your heart and then trying to, because you don't know if that person is trustworthy or not. So make sure that you take time to get to know them. And what they're saying is actually, it's actually true. Because somebody can paint a picture of one thing and then you find out they have been lying. And I'm sorry, even Christians do that.
Yeah.
So make
You're
sure,
kidding.
so much. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. So make sure that you can actually, and just take time to get to know people, go to places, but keep praying that the Lord will keep putting the right people around you. Be brave to show up.
Yeah.
It is hard and it sucks. But at the beginning, like, I don't even know. I don't think we hit it quite off from the beginning, but we were just like, oh,
We're
tell
just
me what
around
you did.
each other.
I
Yeah.
think it was Congo, the first thing that we started talking.
Probably,
That's what
yeah.
it was. And we were like, oh, it was so special.
Mutual thing, yeah.
And then, but it just takes time, and you never know where things are going to end up. I didn't think we're going to be friends this far out.
No. Especially not this close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
not
never.
didn't. Like,
Yeah.
no. And you have been like an amazing, like, she's literally, you guys are literally friends with my whole family.
Yes. We
And
adore them.
I don't know what we would have done through that low season. It wasn't a low, but it was a challenging season of going through treatment, chemo, and having you guys there like backbones.
Yeah.
Because I knew, and I'm like, you guys had my kids too. Because I was just like, the kids got it, but I don't have a brain. I don't have, and you guys were there helping, Will somewhat carry some of that between all of it too, when I had to be in the hospital and all of it. But having people that are not, here's the other thing too. I don't give a rip about giftings.
Yeah. Yeah.
I care about your heart gifting is something God gave you.
Yeah.
But your character, how you manage what the Lord is giving you, that's on you.
Yeah, that's so good.
So for me, it was just like, and that was some of the things that I'm like, and it was funny though, because we were friends. We became close friends, and I've never heard you preach.
Yeah.
So I had never had even a point of reference. Oh, Jess carries this or not.
I don't think you had heard me preach until Randy Clark
recently,
conference, right? Like literally in the last few
7
years.
years into our friendship.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just like, I just felt like, oh, I can trust her. Yeah. Oh no, she's willing to serve my family and help with whatever. Or if my kiddos were having a hard day, you're like, do you want me to take them? And I'm like, please. And you did plenty of them. You have taken all of my kiddos out on dates, plenty of times. But I felt I can trust her. I can trust my kids. Yeah. I'm watching her walk. I'm watching you interact with other people. And it wasn't the gift.
Yeah.
It was just like, I'm like, oh no, she's a faithful friend. She's not looking for a platform, because sometimes that's what people just want. They just want to pull in on whatever.
Yeah. I think that's such there's two things I really want to go from there. But I think one, what you're saying is so important, because I don't think people realize within the ministry context, I can't speak outside of the ministry context, but I think sometimes we're always looking for the friend that's whatever, gifted, anointed, going this same direction, doing this, whatever. I think for me, like meeting your family, like I knew Will, like what Will had done and was doing. But for me, I was like, I just need a friend who doesn't give a rip about what I've done. And I actually need a friend who does not care about who I know or what, any of those things. And you were that person. Like I would tell other people, Musy's relationship, like that friendship was one of the most refreshing I had in that context and in that season, because you didn't care any of the ministry stuff. And we just rarely even talked about that.
Yeah.
And I was traveling and preaching and doing conferences and doing whatever, but like, you just never really asked about that. Will might, like, where'd you go? What did, but like you were more like, what's going on in your life?
Did you sleep? What are you eating?
What are you eating these days?
I'm on my second pot of coffee.
Totally. Like, stop it. We would watch Madam Secretary, and those things were so refreshing for me, because I think, having been in ministry for so long, and most of my friendships were ministry related. Right. So the only things we ever really talked about were ministry. Right. What's the miracles that you saw? What awesome. It's so fun. Like what prophetic words you give? Oh, tell me about that. And those things are great. And it's not that I am not grateful for those conversations, but sometimes it's like, no, I do just want to talk about, how that food upset my stomach the other day, and I'm trying to figure out why, those are things we talk about, or your kiddos. And so this was kind of the other thing I really wanted to discuss, is like, it used to be very intimidating for me to be friends with people who had families. And
really?
Yeah. Did you not know that?
No.
Yeah.
Because you're so good at it though.
I think for a long time, I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't know how, as my friends started getting married, like, how do I relate to you now that like so much of what's going on in your life is marriage, and I don't know anything about marriage. And especially when I was younger, in my 20s, and like, how do I talk to you about your kids? Like, I've never been pregnant. Like, I'm sorry that things are chafing and painful. I don't, I have no grit. I have no way to talk to you about those things. And that's where community is important, that you have friends that you can talk to that have gone through those things, and then friends that haven't. But by the time I met you guys, I had learned, like, one of the things was the best thing you can do is just be part of the family. Like, just don't, like, it's okay if Josiah's going with us to coffee when he was a little tot, it's okay if the easiest place for you to meet is at your house, and your kiddos are going to be running crazy, and we might have to stop for random things,
all the
during
time
our
until
conversation.
Now.
Yeah. A conversation that might take 40 minutes alone might take 3 hours. And you learn those things. But I think, something that y'all did well that I've seen other families be afraid to do as well is you were just like, come on into the mess. Mm-hmm. Like, the house might be crazy. My kid might be losing his stuff that day. Iris, at that point, her puppy, by the way, not the ministry, might be bleeding everywhere because it's in heat. You remember those days? Those were the days. We went through all those things, but you were like, just welcome in. Me and my husband might not be on the same page today. Like, so you might see us just kind of grumble and go on with our lives. Like, but you invited me in. You didn't wait for things to be perfect or try to make sure that you could control the environment so that I wasn't like, you just let me in. And I've seen a lot of people that are married or with families, they feel like they can only make space if I can get a babysitter and we go out to coffee, which I love those moments when we've been able to do those things. And now that your kid's getting older, we can. But if you were to wait, I think as a wife and a mom for only the moments that you can get 2 hours kid free, you're just not going to have really great, like deep relationship because that's just not going to happen a lot when your kiddos are little. Right. And so I think that was one thing I would love to hear you share about, like from the family perspective of inviting somebody else in, because to me, I felt like there was just never a moment that I didn't feel like I wasn't allowed to be there or that, you know, like I'm sure you had your moments where like, I don't need another crazy person in this house. But I just felt like I got to be a part of all of it. And as a single person, that meant a lot to me. Like it meant a lot to me to get to see you and Will, not just when you were having a honeymoon day, but also when you were irritated with each other. Like I remember distinctly.
You did see a lot of that.
I distinctly remember a day being at your house and you pulled out the measure of how loud he gets. I don't remember what those are called.
I was measuring that.
And Will was being loud, which he can be, and you literally just go. And I was like, oh. Okay, are they about to fist fight? I don't know. I'm going to find out, you know? But I loved that. Like, I loved watching you parent your kids when maybe they were throwing a fit, you know? Or Josiah honestly was a real chill kid. But, you know, Bella might have come home freaking out someday. I loved that. Like, I loved that.
For me, it was refreshing that you were just like, I'm jumping in. And I was like, okay, she's not scared. And I was like, and we have always said, like, this is who we are. Yeah. Like, we are not going to pretend like this is who we are. And you have seen us like, did you just hear what we just said? I'm like, and you're like, and there's been so many of those that you were able to jump in and help like pastor it a little bit later on. But I was like, I'm gonna lose it. You've seen it a couple of times, and I'm like, I need Jesus time before I say anything. But oh my goodness, they were not perfect at all. But I want to encourage people, like, don't. Number one, it doesn't need to be perfect. Honestly, if it's perfect, you don't need Jesus. Yeah. Number one. Yeah. Number two, I do want to encourage single people that if you find the right fit, because sure. I want to make sure that we set up some boundaries. Like, you were not calling Will at 10 p.m. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Those were
still to this day would not call your husband at 10 p.m.
But like, those were boundaries that were never crossed. So you always have made me feel so safe in regards to that. Fair. In honoring like my relationship, and you have always done everything you can when we were, especially like at the beginning. Oh my goodness. I was not in a good place with marriage wise. I'll
let you talk about that.
I love you. Yes, because I was so fed up on some of the dynamics on how nothing bad had happened. But our dynamics or personalities are just extremely different. Yeah. And some of our values were collapsing in it, and ministry was a big one. Yeah. And I was really I got better in ministry. But watching you trying to encourage me without taking sides in it was extremely helpful. And you seeing that, you still didn't give up on just being around instead of them like, they need to figure it out their crap before they vacuum me around. And I'm just like, so in that, and I'm like, we have always tried to be as raw and real as we can there is a difference between being authentic, raw, and another one of being intimate. Right. So not crossing into.
And y'all do that well. Yeah.
And, but you had no problem. And when you came alongside, you did everything you could to support the marriage. Like, hey, I'll stay with the kids and you guys go out. And I was like, if I go out with him, I may just kill him. But thank you for offering. I've said that many, many times, especially in past seasons. But, but you did everything you could to support, encourage. You did not, Chris. I don't even think for many years, you didn't even have Will's number.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't feel like I needed it. Yeah. Like, I would text you and say, like, could you ask Will this?
And I'm like, and for many years, And I was just
Yeah.
like, good. I can see that you were not trying to pull on him, or and it was, those are things that you can only time will tell what people are actually really.
Would you still say I don't pull on him? Well, my door's locked. I can't get it open.
There was a girl on the other side
totally.
though.
Yeah, she's trapped.
She's been there since 4 a.m. She took a nap. Bless her heart, she did. And I love it.
Yeah.
No, but I'm like, it was, we are so in a deeper level of friendship and relationship that I know if you're calling like something like that is bad, like something is happening and I can't help you with that one. And there are certain things that it's helpful when the guys are around.
Yeah.
But you have always you have not crossed those boundaries. I have never felt like you were pulling, I always felt like you were pouring into my family, into every single one of, it's true. You have poured so much into every single one of my kiddos and on me. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to think if Will has said anything like that, but I'm like, I'm not sure. But I'm like, I can say for myself that you have taken time and poured into each one of you. But almost, it feels like the relationship has
it's
been
reciprocated.
Exactly.
100%.
And I feel like that's when you find your people. But you can't only have yes people.
Yeah.
You have to have people that will challenge you on the godly way.
Yeah.
You did not sit. You sat in my pain, but trying to help me turn back to Jesus.
Yeah.
You were not just like, well, he's such a jerk.
Right.
He is da, 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 da.
Right.
And there were some other stuff that were extremely valid.
Yeah.
But you, over and over, you were just, I remember so many times that I was trying to pull something out of you and you're just like, I'm just going to pray for y'all.
I'm out.
I love you guys. I'm just going to be praying for you. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry you're hearing all this.
Can we say this, like, not to toot my horn, but I think this is good advice for people. Nobody wins when a friend turns against a marriage.
That's right.
Like nobody, because God's grace will come off the marriage and the friendship. You know what I'm saying? Like you watch and I'm like, sure, there's been times that I've been like, all right, maybe we could have done that different with either one of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like the reality is your marriage is God's priority. And if he has to blow up our friendship to preserve your marriage, he'll do that.
Yep.
Because marriage is more important than friendship.
Oh, it's God's covenant.
It is.
It is. And I'm like, we got to treat it holy.
Yes.
As well. And I'm like, you did that so well with us in those seasons that were really challenging all the way around it. You were not even, you were just remember you saying, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just going to pray for you. And I was just like, okay, this is the moment I just got to stop and I just got to pray in tongues, you know? But having, and that's what I was saying, like you were there. Yeah. You got to see the mess of it and the mess didn't scare you. But and also realizing, because I had this crazy idea that I'm going to get married and we're going to hold hands and we are going to agree on everything.
It's going to be perfect.
It's going to be so perfect. And because I watched so many Hallmark movies and Hollywood movies, and then you put the scripture on top, and it was none of it.
Yeah.
So realizing, oh, no, life is messy and you need to work at it. I know I have, we are a bit on the extremes of personalities, but realizing I just got to get on my knees and pray.
Yeah.
And just get God's heart. And there are so many times, and you just walked with me, is I had to push in for just like, God, I need your heart. I need your mantle of forgiveness. And you were there just encouraging me to just keep going after it. So thank you for doing that.
I've watched you guys come on the other side of that, and I think it's beautiful because again, it's not like, oh, now it's just roses and butterflies all the time. Again, not married, so I don't really know, but like I've watched you guys just choose each other, even when it's been hard or difficult. And y'all's marriage has had to go through more than most when you talk about two different cultures, doing missions, going to different nations, 2 bouts of cancer now, like y'all have been through the fire. Like there really has been a lot, and y'all have navigated that, still loving Jesus and still loving each other. So that's again where I'm like, sure, there's been moments where it's been like, I love you, like, woo. But it's such a privilege to like watch that. And it really is. Like,
I can see it that way.
I think what it's done for me, and I might be fooling myself this, but I feel like I get to go into marriage with my eyes wide open because I've walked through some of that with you guys. And I think like I've watched it be hard and I can still go, but it still seems holy and godly and what I want. And I still would, want those things. Like, it's not like I've had an inside look and gone, well, I'm never getting married. Geez, those kids.
It's been my prayer. I'm like, Lord, don't let his car trust you much.
Like, I think it's the opposite that I'm like, wow, like two people who choose Jesus first can do this no matter how different they are, because you guys are so different. And that's just reality. This isn't a marriage podcast, but I think to sum that at least portion of the conversation up, if you're watching this, like if you're a single, just go love the family.
That's right.
And love them and love their marriage enough to say like, I'm actually not going to participate in gossiping about your spouse.
Exactly.
I'm not going to participate in accusing your spouse. Like, I don't think, you can correct me, in any of our conversations have I ever looked at you and been like, well, Will, dear God, he needs to get fixed, No, like, he's your husband, and I would never want to say something negative about him no matter what's going on in your marriage. We want to encourage that, like encourage people's marriage. And I think that's what I've realized as a single person doing friendship with a family is like, if you want to be a good friend to any member of that family, bless the whole family.
Right.
Serve the family.
Serve the whole family.
Love the family. And Ju's done that really well too, as she's come over now. Like, I would love, like, she'll get in and just start doing the dishes, or she'll grab one of the kiddos and go play with them or do something. And Bella and Josh are not kiddos anymore. So if either one of them are watching this, just kidding, you're not a kiddo. But no, like, she'll grab Bella when she's having a hard day and be like, come with me. I think like we see this as like, we get to be a part of the family. We get to serve and love you guys. And sometimes that doesn't look like you and me getting to sit and talk for 3 hours having coffee. Sometimes it looks like taking the kids out to a movie and saying, why don't you get a nap, or whatever that might be, And I think that's, to me, what we get to receive on the other side of that is so beautiful. And I've watched people, and I would say at some point myself too, was like, unless you can come meet me for a coffee for an hour, like, I don't know how this friendship's going to work. And I just think when it has to do with marriages and families, like, just go serve and love the family.
Yeah, just go help them. Like,
help them out.
Help them out. And I'm like, because it's a beautiful, it's a privilege, but it takes a lot.
Yeah.
It really takes a lot. And I will say that there is a difference between venting and processing.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
I think we have tried our best to process stuff together, even if it's not just about marriage, but even just like about people that sometimes are going through, and we're like, where we try for it not to just, I'm just going to talk for the sake of talking.
Right.
We have tried to not do that, but to help process, I think is a big difference between processing and venting. I've gotten to the place that I was just like, I am not letting people vent anymore. Yeah. Because I am realizing I'm enabling. Yeah. I'm enabling you to just go to the Lord instead of saying, hey, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know. There's a very different, instead of saying like, blah, 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 this person did this, and it's just like an offense that gets carried and is not helpful. So there is a difference between those two.
I think you can feel the spirit behind it, like, as well. Bill Johnson says, complaining only proves you can hear the devil. And there is this, I know. There is this weird moment in conversations, whether I'm listening to someone or speaking myself, where I can go, ooh, I just kind of crossed the line into like dishonor. Yeah. And now I'm no longer informing you of something that happened and seeking advice and counsel, which is good. Right. Now I'm literally partnering with the enemy over that person. Yeah. And we don't want to do that. No, we don't. And, we do, because we do a lot of community life, and you and I disciple young people that are very much a part of that. There are situations that come up that I'm like, I need some help. And so like, I go to you and I'm like, all right, this kid, like, they're not all kiddos. They're like 20, 21, 22, 23 years old. Like, this is going on and I'm feeling this thing. And neither one of us want to complain about that person, right? Partner with the enemy over that person. But sometimes I need another person that's hearing the Lord for them and going, hey, what do you help me out with that? And I think that's part of it too. And it's beautiful. And we've had to work that out. Like, I think there's times, I don't know. I think what we're really talking about too is just like choosing righteousness and holiness in friendship. I mean, that's really what it all is going and like holding each other accountable to those things that like, oh, okay, you seem a little bitter. Woo, you know, there's a little sting in those words, you know, or dang, you sing really disappointed and like you're partnering with like a hopelessness. Like I've been there before, you know? So I'm thankful that we need to wrap up, don't we? Yeah. Julia's nodding at me, but I think that's, if we were to keep talking, something that I'm so grateful for in our friendship. And I've said this for a long time is like, I know at the end of the day, if I'm doing something that Musy feels is not godly or inappropriate, you tell me. Mm-hmm. And I'm so grateful for that. Like, it's not always fun. I don't always like it. I don't even always agree with you.
Yeah,
but I'm so grateful that if you see it, you'll say something. Yeah. Because ultimately, you and I both, and the people that we run with, we want to be like Jesus.
That's right.
And there's aspects of my attitude I don't always see. And, you know, when sweet Julia, who's in the room, came and to live with me, I wasn't planning that. You know, I was living by myself in a cute little condo. It was perfect. Didn't even have to pay rent.
Didn't even have plans. But then you brought plans and you killed them.
It was so great, you know.
Just kidding.
And then I know sweet Julia moves in, but how many times have you had to look at me and say like, you're being too hard on her, or wow, you got a little bit of an attitude there, or wow, you're not showing a lot of compassion for that kid. And those moments, like I didn't see it, but you saw something I didn't see, and you've brought those things to the table. And then typically I'm like, she's wrong, she's missing it. And then I go to the Lord and he's like, no, she's right. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful for friendships that are deep enough that we can be honest with each other mm-hmm. and say, like, I know at the end of the day, what you want is you want to be more like the Lord. Mm-hmm. And right now you're not acting like that. Mm-hmm. And that's just been such a fun part of our friendship too. I feel like we could go on and on and on. I love you and I love your family. And I couldn't have imagined. I literally said this to Julia walking home from your house yesterday after seeing the ferret stuffed on which to tell you guys, I shouldn't be shocked with the amount of things Will brings home these days. I shouldn't be shocked at all, but I still am though. Oh my gosh. I do have a video. If there's any way, Julia, that we can like edit, put a picture up, that would be amazing. But I literally said to her as we were walking, I never would have guessed a decade ago when I walked into your house that 10 years later, I would be walking over to your house, grabbing apple cider vinegar out of the pantry because I needed it, and walking home and being like, I stole some of your stuff, you know? And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really, really grateful how God has literally it's Ephesians 3:20, exceedingly abundantly more than you can ask, think, or imagine. Like, I wouldn't have even known to ask for that with your family. And I love it.
I love you guys. You guys have been refreshing. It feels like I know they have my back. Yeah. And if something crazy happens, I know you guys are going to be there. And honestly, that's what it feels like.
And one day we're going to bring a husband into this chaos.
Yes. I'm going to bring two. I'm like,
two. Julia's going to get married too.
We're praying. We're standing with you guys.
And God bless him when he comes in. Little does he know what he has in the store for him. But it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great.
Beautiful.
I love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right. We'll see you guys next time at the table with Jess. This has been Conversations About Ships. Friendship, discipleship, lots of ships I think we covered in this one. But it's been so amazing. So like the video, subscribe, share, all of that amazing stuff. And we'll see you next week at the table with Jess.